right. Great morning, everyone. Welcome to the free training, content training for how to conduct an effective content audit. Hey, what's up, Royce? How you doing? So today we're here talking about learning what makes your audience click. I'm Brian Smart. I'm a dad, 20-year UX content strategist and coach. And I'm also the founder of Content Creation University. I help growth coaches and consultants build content marketing systems to start and maintain profitable conversations that attract attention and build visibility. So I've gotten a lot of questions about developing content strategy, and I decided to create this micro training series to help out. And I want to thank you for being a part of this free content training. It's supposed to be streamed live on LinkedIn, but I've been having some issues getting it to work. So everyone that signed up received a link pointing to this uh, live stream using Zoom. So if you're not seeing it in LinkedIn, jump in Zoom and jump in your email, click that link and jump in Zoom. And with that said, we're just gonna get right into it. We're gonna start talking about what, why conducting a content audit is important, and what a content audit is. So a content audit is it's a process of analyzing and evaluating your existing content, evaluating your existing content, and it's crucial in developing a content strategy that's aligned with your business goals. And also addresses the needs of the target audience. So the content audit process helps you identify your strengths and weaknesses in your existing content and helps you form the development for your content strategy, your overall performance, and your ability to identify um, opportunities, gaps and opportunities in your content. And there are 5 typical steps to creating a content audit, building your content. And that's planning the audit, right? Collecting and analyzing data, building your content inventory, evaluating the quality of your content, and like I said earlier, identifying the gaps and opportunities in your content. So it really helps when you identify these areas so that you can uh, create content that speaks the language of your audience and addresses the problems that they have. Having a content audit allows you to adapt quickly, right, with changes in the market, changes in your customer base. Right. So give me a thumbs up if you're on live, LinkedIn Live, and you're able to see this, or clap if you can relate to what we're talking about. Right. So this is a pretty intensive training. This is not the typical spiel that you hear on LinkedIn and social media, where you're being told you can attract 100,000 followers in 2 months, right? This strategy is a long-term, sustainable model that you can use to build your content visibility and attractiveness with an ideal market instead of spreading a wider net, right? Just go where your customers are. Go where the fish are biting, right? Development of audit helps you do this, right? Because you're able to identify what content is working and what content is failing. So let's talk about planning your content audit. So the first step is going to be evaluating and analyzing your existing content, right? So we're going to be identifying the goals and objectives of the audit, right? Selecting the content to be audited, and preparing a content inventory spreadsheet. So the first step is determining the goals and objectives, right? And this will help you prepare your content inventory as we move forward, right? So you want to reflect on what is important to you, right? Your principles, your values, and the principles and values of your audience and how they align, right? And how you can achieve improving that alignment, right? You want to identify your priorities. Once you have a sense of what's important, then think about the areas where you can focus those efforts, right? Whether that's creating a video, creating an ebook series, or doing a training series like we're doing here today, right? So you want to set smarter goals so that you can achieve those improvements, right? Those goals need to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound, evaluable, and rewardable. And rewardable is that's really key. A lot of times you forget to give yourself a pat on the back for the work that you've done. So after you get so far in creating your content, right, you should be able to look back and say, job well done. Right. And fourthly, you're going to need to create a plan of action, right, to help you achieve your goals and break your goals down into smaller, manageable steps. I like to take my goals and create three categories. So I create long-term goals, I create short-term goals, midterm goals, and short-term goals. So most of my short-term goals are going to be daily tasks. The midterm goals will be things I can accomplish in a couple of months. And the long-term goals are things that require 6, 12, 18 months to complete. But breaking it down into those smaller steps helps me to stay focused and stay motivated. So being flexible and adaptable is the last step here. So you want to be able to make adjustments, be open to make adjustments to your goals and your plan of action, depending on what you're faced with. And when I say what you're faced with, right, that could be time constraints, that could be new projects, that could be health issues, a number of things. If you're planning long term for your content to become to build you up as an authority, then you have to plan long term for any circumstance. The second step in planning your content audit is selecting the content, right? So you want to identify all of your content, social updates, blog posts, email, and any other type of content that you've been creating so far, video, infographics, memes, right? So that you can prepare your spreadsheet. And in your spreadsheet, this is where you'll include the URL for your content, right? Where it's located, the title, the date it was published, the journey, the phase of the journey that your buyer is in, the content format, buyer persona, right? Content topic, right? That's important. So here's an example. of my content inventory, right? Using this this process of content auditing and gathering the content. So now that I'm gathering the content, right, I'm gonna look at the content that I've made so far, and we're using LinkedIn here, right? So 7 content problems you can avoid. The buyer journey phase, right? A lot of people call this top of funnel, middle funnel. Call it whatever you like. It's the introductory phase. It's the get to know you phase. It's the, I don't really know well enough about you to spend money with you, to spend time with you, to spend energy with you. So this content has got to be engaging. It's got to be exciting. It's got to be an attention grab, right? Life cycle. This is your lead, right? So there are different life cycle phases for your content. MQLs, SQL, MQL, marketing qualified lead, SQL, sales qualified lead, opportunity, support, whether it's an evangelist and they bought so much of your content that they just can't stop talking about it. In this particular case, this piece of content is going to be a lead, right? And we're gonna lead in with our ebook. And the name of that ebook, some of you may remember it, the No Bullshit Guide to 10x Content Creation, right? I created that ebook to help people with content ideation problems, to help creators solve the problem of coming up with ideas for content and keeping it organized so that they could create content quickly and more efficiently. And it was the notes that I include. Notes are important for me because I want to know why I'm creating this content and how it filters into my long-term strategy, right? So 7 things creators can do to come up with content ideas quick, right? Self-explanatory. So after you collected your data, you want to start analyzing the data, right? And so you can identify the content that resonates closely with your audience. And here are a few techniques you can use to start analyzing your content, right, more closely. Analytics research is always going to be your go-to method to analyze any data, right? And you got a lot of tools out here. You got LinkedIn Analytics, you got Google Analytics. Shield Analytics is great. If you've never used Shield is phenomenal. The reports are really easy to use, and it gives you, if you're on LinkedIn, it gives you a clear view of how you're performing, your content is performing on LinkedIn. Excellent tool. If you're using your website or if you're doing blog, Google Analytics is great also. So you can conduct audience polls, do keyword research, use heat mapping and user testing, surveys and interviews, keyword research, right? Ties back into your analytics research, your Google Analytics, search engine ranking, same thing. And content duplication. It's not something that's discussed often, but having the same content in multiple places, the identical content in multiple places actually hurts your SEO ranking. So remember that. If you have to, if you got to go through and do it manually, or if you want to use a tool, but make sure your content is unique all the way through your platform. So let's talk about evaluating the content, right? After you have analyzed the content, let's talk about evaluating. What are we going to do with it? This is where you identify the strengths and weaknesses of your content and determine, how it's performing and what stays and what goes. Right? And 3 factors to consider, 3 really important factors to consider when you're evaluating your content is relevant, usefulness, and accuracy. Right? You want to see how well the content aligns with your audience needs and interests. You want to make sure that it's helpful and it provides information that helps them solve their problems. And you want to make sure that it's accurate, fact checked, and well researched, right? So that you can build trust. Nobody is gonna keep following you if you're putting out uh, fake, false information, right? And some more factors to consider here, especially on LinkedIn, are readability, design, and accessibility. All right. So let's talk about building that content inventory, right? If any of this is starting to resonate with you guys, give me a thumbs up or a clap, and let me know that this is making sense to you. All right, moving on. We're talking about building your content inventory. Your content inventory is the comprehensive view of your content, of all your existing content, right? So you want to compile a spreadsheet and include the information that's quality and relevant, right? And performance. So after you gather all your content, organize it, and evaluate it, you want to classify it, and you want to add the metrics to help you decide uh, where your gaps and your opportunities lie. So some of your categories for classifying the content are going to be topic, type, uh, buyer, and purpose. And your engagement, your metrics, will be your views, your engagement share, your engagement, your shares, your bounce rate, conversion rate. Right. And this is where you'll start identifying, after you built up your content inventory, you'll start identifying where your gaps and opportunities are, right? To help you maximize your content. So an example of identifying your gaps may be finding a particular topic, right, that's of interest, and you don't have enough content to fill that need, right? It could be videos or infographics or an ebook, right? Or a training series, right? And the same thing with opportunities, right? There are opportunities where you could update or better align your content with what your audience is searching for, right? Then develop your content strategy using those insights, right? To create new content that satisfies those audience desires, and prioritize your new content by updating, creating new, or repurposing your content, right? Based on your findings. A few key performance metrics. If it's SEO, right? So organic traffic and keyword rank. If it's user impressions and engagement rate. If it's engagement, then it's comments and click through. If it's sales, it's the number of leads or conversion rate. Right? So this will help you stop wasting time, right? And start creating content like a pro, right? So you can find out what content is performing well, what content is performing poorly, what content is outdated. And I know it's going to seem like a lot of work because it is, right? But this is the best way to ensure that your content marketing strategy is effective and getting you the attention your business deserves, right? I'm saying I believe that you should do a content audit. If you're just getting started out, you want to do it every 3 months, right? So that you can find out what's working and what's not working. And as your content grows, as you improve, you can, as you start to see what your audience wants, then you can start to stretch your content audits out further, 6 months, 12 months, right? I wouldn't go out any further than 12 months. So if you're ready to build a content strategy and start creating content that gets attention, I've got an offer today for everyone who attended this call to attend to receive a free strategy discussion. Right? My one-on-one content coaching sessions are usually $250 an hour, but I want to help some people today turn their experience, their knowledge, their skills into cash conversation. And like my good friend Darren Gibbs says, right? It's not just about helping helping to put money in the bank. It's helping people to build, to grow, to learn, right? With that said, if you're ready to start building, right, and you believe you don't need a coaching strategy, right, you can start building right now. I'm offering my content strategy template today for $19.99. Right, it's got a walkthrough guide and 30 days of social media posts to fuel your content strategy. Right, if that's something you're interested in, if you're ready to start now, that this content strategy template is what I've used to build content strategies for over a decade for some of the biggest and most well-known box brands uh, uh, nationally and globally. So if you got any questions, uh, you want to talk about it, now's the time. Hey, what's up, Ross? I'm gonna unmute you, man.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Great job, man.
Thank you, thank you. So
Yes, I'm amazed at how many companies go for years without doing a content audit.
it's crazy,
And
right?
oh yeah, I mean, I get into some of these. I'm like, when did you update this? Because it was like you could tell it was pre-pandemic.
Right, right. That's right. Pre-pandemic.
I'm like, wow, really? So you guys are out there licking on each other then, huh? No, I don't think so.
That's right, man. So how's your week been?
A little crazy, but that's normal. Still sending out stuff, looking for clients, you know how that goes.
How's it going? Are you getting any bites?
Yes, except, it's I think probably coming from radio when everything was immediate, everything happened instantly to getting on a call with somebody and like, yeah, okay, yeah, it sounds great. I tell you what, I'll get back to you in about 10 days. Like,
Which never
10
happened.
days?
Right. 10 days. You've forgotten all about the conversation at that point.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm used to doing things now. So,
So that, and it's funny that you say that because this is where emails and DMs come into play, right? So the social media posts are one aspect, one facet of your plan, of your strategy. But when you get on those calls and you have someone, and I'm saying I get it all the time, you have someone saying, well, I need to think about it, or this I gotta run it up the chain. That entire time is opportunity to keep the conversation going. Right.
right,
That's the perfect time without feeling like you're being pushy, right? Because you're sending out information that continues to address the problem that you've already discussed with this prospect, right? So it doesn't have to necessarily be the same topic, but as long as the topic relates to the topic, the primary topic, and it addresses solving that problem, it keeps the primary topic at mind, right? It keeps it at the front of their mind. It keeps you at the front of their mind because most of the time, and I was on a call with Darren this morning about it. Most of the time, people are not nurturing conversations. They're pushing sales. So if you don't seem interested, then I'm moving on to the next kill. I'm moving on to the next prey. I'm not gonna keep
Right.
this conversation going. You know what I'm saying? So that gives you an
Oh
opportunity.
yeah.
Yeah, that gives you an
And
opportunity.
I think the bottom line is, do they see value, and you know how it is. It seems like the bigger the budget, the easier they are to work with too,
It
because
is.
they understand, you know, what
It's
we're doing here,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The less you charge, the harder it is to make the sale. The more expensive it is, the easier it is to make a sale. The caveat to that is convincing that that prospect that money is actually worth it, right? Once they know that that one, when I say know that it's worth it, knowing that you can fulfill it, right? Because I
right?
know that's what I need, but I need to know you can actually deliver what I need.
Absolutely.
So having those conversations, those multiple conversations, whether it's, two emails 5 days a week and one email on weekends every day of the weekend, right? Whether it's jumping on an additional live, whether it's hosting a podcast, whether it's because you've got an amazing voice, man. You've got an amazing audio voice. So, hosting a podcast, that probably blow your positioning out of the water.
Right. Yeah, I know. I've we I've talked about this for years now, but
And it's not that
it's
hard. It's not that
oh,
hard.
I know it's not hard. I just my thing. You know what I've been thinking about? Let me get your opinion on this, because I know there's a lot of, even especially on LinkedIn, a lot of introverts, and I thought about being like an MC, be a host of for LinkedIn Audio,
I think
where I
that's a
could
great
set
idea.
I could be the host, and you bring you up as the expert and ask you, interview you, basically. It's still all your points you want to get across or whatever you're pushing, but I could be the facilitator, for lack of a better word.
I think that's a phenomenal idea. I actually spoke with somebody about doing that for me uh, last year for a couple of LinkedIn lives that I did, and
Right.
they kind of shrugged it off because no one was talking about it and no one was doing it. But I think a host is a host. It doesn't matter whether it's a LinkedIn Live, a podcast, a radio show, a television show. It doesn't matter. A debate, right? You need that to help give structure to the show and to help bring some sort of energy to the
Absolutely.
atmosphere, right?
Yeah. I'm wondering. So here's the big question: how much could I charge for that?
I think it really depends. If it were me, I'd probably start off offering it for free, right?
Right.
See what kind of to see what kind of need there is for it, to see how many people wanted to do it. And I'm saying undoubtedly, there'd be tons of people that would say, "Hey, yeah, you could. I'd love for you to MC my show. I'd love for you to come in and host my live." Right? And offering it for free would also give you a lot of exposure.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Lord knows I've done enough of it over the years.
Right. This is
It's-
something you could do in your sleep, right? So
exactly.
it wouldn't mean anything to you to do a couple of them a week and you only, make sure it's the ones that are only 30 minutes long. You don't want to do the long-winded one. If they want to do an hour one, then that's when you charge.
Right. Yeah, I think I'll work on that
Yeah.
today, as a matter of fact. I've got a whole outline all figured out, because I could give them, it really depends on how much service I want to offer. I could actually, help them out with open ended questions and things like that. So,
I think that's a great idea, man. That might even be
Cool.
something that we could work together on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a phenomenal idea.
Because of over the years, I've obviously, had some very interesting people on my radio show. So,
Obvious. Yeah, obvious. So and listen, this is where developing that content strategy plays a major part. Because the more, like, when you do one of these radio shows, if you do, back in the day, it didn't have as much of an impact because you couldn't do as much with the content. But doing a podcast now is not just a podcast, right? When you get finished doing that podcast, you could turn that podcast into an ebook. You could turn it into a mini training series. You could turn it
oh,
into
sure.
a newsletter
Yeah,
series,
absolutely.
right? So, and the more that you add on, and not to even mention, right, the countless social updates that come from each piece that was spawned off of the podcast,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So the more content you start to add on, the more confusing your message can become if you haven't identified and followed that original strategy.
Yeah, I think how it goes. You've got a stack of stuff here, and it's like, which one do I attack first? Well, let's start with the client outreach. That's probably number one. But after that, let's
Well,
have some fun.
it would, for what you're doing, man, I would just I wouldn't even I wouldn't give too much thought to client outreach initially. Like I would come up with I'd decide, who I'd be looking at from my current audience. I would get my prospects from my current audience. This would be me. I'd take them from my current audience and I would approach them, right? And start having fun right now.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? No need to put it off. You can start that right now and not give much thought to it.
Right. No, I wasn't talking about the audio stuff. I was just talking about
Oh,
copy.
okay, okay. Just the business altogether. You got
Right.
me super pumped on this hosting idea. I think that's a great idea.
Good.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
Well, that makes three of us.
Okay, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. So hey man, I'm gonna jump off here in a few minutes. Did you have any particular question about the training today that you wanted to ask, or do you have anything in mind that you would want to see in a future training? Next week, I'm gonna be doing how to build a distribution strategy for your content. So
Cool.
I'm throwing them all in there. I'll be doing this for the next 3 months, I believe.
Awesome. Well, I should be there for it. So,
Yeah, hopefully
God
I'll be able
willing.
to get this live working, man. I'm working on it.
Yeah, it is an extra step. Anytime you throw an extra step in, man, you know,
Oh, it's always work. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It never goes the way you expect it to go. The best thing you can do is do everything you can do and adjust, right? Which is
yep,
why I wanted to do the Zoom live, because I was still able to have a way to communicate after the live is over with.
right. Well, plus you get the recording, so
Plus, you get,
that's
yeah, absolutely,
that's a bonus.
absolutely. So if you don't have
Well,
any more
cool,
questions,
man.
man, I'm gonna jump off, man. I'm gonna try to grab me a bowl of oatmeal and some fruit, and I might go for a walk. I think that's what
Good, awesome.
I think that's what I'm
Well, I will. I'll set up a call with you here, and we can just go over some stuff and
Let's do that. I'd
love
love
to.
to learn more about what you do. I got a few questions I'd like to ask.
You got it, man.
Fantastic, man. Have a fantastic day, my friend.
You too, sir.
All right.
All right. We'll see you later.
See you later.